Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I want to take you today through chemistry. Our subtopic today is about reaction of acids with the metals. So at the beginning, let us define the term acid. An acid is a compound that reacts with metal to form a salt and hydrogen gas. So an acid is just a compound that reacts with metals to form a salt and a gas. Salt and gas are the products formed. So an acid plus metal, the product that you find is a salt, a metal salt plus hydrogen gas plus hydrogen. So we have several acids. We have the sulfuric acid. We have sulfuric acid, which is written as H2SO4. This is its symbol. We have hydrochloric acid, HCl. We also have nitric acid, which is written as NO3. We also have other acids, but let us first look at these three. We also have several metals. In our periodic table, we have non-metal and metal elements. Let us look at metals like zinc, magnesium. We also have copper and iron, among many others. So when I'm reacting an acid and a metal, I can use iron filings, I can use copper, I can use magnesium ribbon, I can use zinc, I can also use aluminium, maybe for aluminium foil. So zinc, it's written as Z small n capital M. This is for magnesium. This is for copper, iron, and aluminium. So when we react, let's say dilute acids, when dilute acid is added to zinc or magnesium, or let's say aluminum or iron filings, there is a bubble of a colorless gas that evolves. This colorless gas is now referred to as hydrogen. The production of this bubble gas is referred to as effervescence. When I am reacting, let me write an equation down below so that we can understand. When I'm reacting, let's say zinc plus sulfuric acid this is sulfuric acid. I am getting a salt. Now the salt will be zinc sulfate plus hydrogen gas. Let me write it. Hydrogen gas plus hydrogen. So this is the metal. Zinc is the metal. Sulfuric acid is the acid. Zinc sulfate is the salt. And hydrogen is the gas that is produced. Let me write it in as a chemical equation. I have zinc plus sulfuric acid. The end product, it's zinc sulfate. Now this is the metal, or this is the metal salt, or the salt that is produced. Zinc has a valence of 2. Sulfate is a radical, has a valence of -2. So this is how I'll write it. Remember, it's dilute sulfuric acid, so it will be in aqueous state, and zinc is a metal, plus hydrogen gas. Hydrogen is a gas, so it is in gaseous state. So the equation is balanced. You can check. I have 1 zinc on the reactant side. On the product side, I have 1 zinc, 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfate, and 4 oxygen, 4 oxygen. So the equation is balanced. So when dilute sulfuric acid is added to zinc granules, these are now the zinc granules. When this is the sulfuric acid is added to zinc granules, hydrogen gas is produced. This is now the hydrogen gas, and zinc sulfate are produced. The reaction can be represented in using a word equation. This is now the word equation. And this is the chemical equation. So similarly, zinc can react with the dilute hydrochloric acid. Zinc can, let me show you. Zinc can react with the hydrochloric acid to form zinc chloride. Now from this chloride is coming from the hydrogen chloride and it can form zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. So let us react zinc. Let me write a word equation. Zinc, this is a word equation. Zinc plus hydrochloric acid will get zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas plus hydrogen. This is the metal, this is the acid, this is the salt formed, and this is hydrogen gas. This is the gas that was produced. Let me write a chemical equation for the reaction. Chemical equation. We have zinc. These are zinc. Zinc is a metal, so it is in solid state, plus hydrochloric acid. It is dilute, so it is in aqueous state. The end product is zinc chloride. Zinc has a valence of 2. Chlorides have a valence of -1. So I'll write here 2 down below to make it to be correct in its simple state, plus hydrogen gas. This is in aqueous state, zinc chloride. So let me check. The equation is not balanced. I have 2 chlorine on the product side. I have 1 chlorine on the reactant side. I have 2 hydrogen on the product side. I have 1 hydrogen on the reactant side. So to balance it, I'll write here 2, and the equation will be balanced. So this is how my chemical equation will be represented in this form. So we also have metals like metals which are reactive. Remember the reactivity in the reactivity series. We have metals that are reactive, the likes of potassium. Potassium is the most reactive. We have sodium. I have lithium, I have calcium, then aluminium, iron, we have lead, we also have lead, and copper. So copper is the least reactive. So for reactive metals like potassium, sodium, and calcium, they react with acids very vigorously or violently with acids. This is because they are the most reactive elements. You remember in the reactivity series, potassium and sodium, these are alkali metals. They are metals which belong to group number 1. So they react very violently with acids. They can even explode. So for these metals, the likes of potassium, sodium, and calcium, remember that they react violently or vigorously with acids, the 3 of them here. But for calcium, the reaction of calcium with the dilute sulfuric acid slows down, or it can eventually stop due to the formation of an insoluble salt. The insoluble salt formed when calcium reacts with the dilute sulfuric acid is calcium sulfate. So this salt may coat with the metal and prevent further reaction. So calcium plus sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, forms a salt, and the salt is calcium sulfate, which is insoluble, remember, plus hydrogen gas, So this calcium sulfate is now the salt formed. It is an insoluble substance. It is insoluble in nature. So the insoluble substance or the insoluble salt that is formed when reacting calcium plus sulfuric acid, the calcium sulfate that has been formed, it coats with the metal and prevent further reaction. That now makes the reaction to be so slow and eventually stops. And for lead, for lead metal, remember in the reactivity series, lead is not that reactive. So the reaction between lead and an acid, specifically hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, the reaction will be slow and will also will eventually stop due to the formation of insoluble salt formed. So for lead, if I am reacting lead plus hydrochloric acid, it is for both hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid. So if I am reacting lead and hydrochloric acid, the salt that will be formed, it will be lead chloride plus hydrogen gas. Lead chloride is also an insoluble salt. So lead chloride, it is an insoluble salt that is formed, which prevents the reaction or which slows the reaction because it is insoluble. It prevents further reaction. So the reaction eventually stops. If I am reacting lead with sulfuric acid, the salt formed is lead chloride. If I am reacting lead plus sulfuric acid, lead plus sulfuric acid, the salt formed is lead sulfate, which is also an insoluble salt plus hydrogen gas. The salt formed its lead sulfate, which is insoluble, preventing further reaction. Remember, lead in the reactivity series is down below. It is down, so that means it's not that reactive. It is not reactive at all. So the lead metal, reacting it with hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, for both the reaction will be slow and it might eventually stop, remember, due to the formation of insoluble salt, that is lead chloride or lead sulfate, which coats with metal, making the reaction to be slow or stops. Insoluble salt. Remember, the gas that is being produced when an acid and a metal reacts, it's hydrogen gas. Remember, for hydrogen gas, remember test for hydrogen gas. The gas produced is hydrogen gas, and the gas is tested using a burning splint. Tested using a burning splint. When a mixture of hydrogen and air burns when a mixture of hydrogen and air burns, it burns with a pop sound, and this is test for hydrogen gas. If you want to know the gas that is produced, it's hydrogen, you have to use a burning splint to know exactly the name of the gas, which is hydrogen gas. So that marks the end of our video today. Remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and remember to practice until you become a legend. Bye bye. That marks the end of our video today.